I think everything Boniface has said is what I went through. Of course, everyone experiences what happens to us differently. So I will just focus on a few things that I thought about during that time. So the first time they put us in that car, the car is very dark, but they thought it important to add a blindfold. It's very tinted, very dark. Where they were putting me to sit, that's in the middle chair, there were guns. They had to first remove them so that I sit. So I am seated in the middle of two people, the one woman on that squad and another man. Boniface is behind, also in the middle of two people, and there's another two people in front, so 6 people. So they blindfolded me, and I felt like I was suffocating. It was as if they have covered my nose, my mouth, and I couldn't breathe. I'd never been blindfolded my whole life. What's funny is that I thought that they would come. I knew that they would come. I just didn't know it would come in Tanzania. I have lived looking over my shoulders in Uganda, where I have made so many powerful enemies because of my work. So it was strange that the day I had dreaded, that I had known will come someday, was coming in Tanzania, where I hadn't done absolutely anything, not even go on the street to protest, which is also right, but at least they could have that excuse. They picked me from a hotel I was in. The hotel, which was shocking, was very happy to give them everything, access to our rooms. Like it looked normal to them. The lawyers we went with, and it was good that we knew what was happening in Tanzania. It was good to appreciate, because I have never seen where lawyers cannot say anything. We left that police station. So we'd been detained at immigration office for about 4 hours. We were at a police station for another 1 hour. They dismissed the lawyers, and the lawyers came to tell me, they have told us, you are being detained overnight. We will find you here in the morning. And I'm asking them a question. On what charge? Because after 5 hours, we don't know what charge. When I was being questioned, questions moved from Bonnie's gadgets, and I said, I don't have them. You came to my room, the only property of Bonnie's, you saw it, you checked it. From Bonnie's gadgets to what are you doing in Tanzania? Okay, when did it become a crime to go to Tanzania? But I came here legally. My passport was stamped. There's no notice anywhere that has said Tanzania is not allowing nationals into its country. Why were you at Tundu Lissu's trial? 1, I know Tundu Lissu. 2, I am a journalist. Part of your job is to be at a trial. 3, it was a public trial. I wasn't the only one there. It was a full court. How is it possible that I'm the only one here being questioned about that? Why didn't you bring everyone who was there? And many were evidently not Tanzanians. They were whites. Tundu Lissu's legal team introduced diplomats that were there and us that had come from East Africa to observe the trial. Then it became, so they're going through my passport. They had taken it from me, and they're being angered by my passport having so many visas. So that's where this whole narrative of whites have sent you to disorganize us came from. Why do you have so many visas? How do you travel to all these countries? Where do you guys make your money? I should be an activist too if it makes you guys live such a life. And so at some point I asked them, may I be told what issue you have brought me here to address? Because it was moving from all over the place, and I think what Boniface didn't tell is that because they are used to not being challenged, questioned, or even answered, so they found 2 people and they called us arrogant. But it was confidence of, I haven't committed any crime. I know my rights. I haven't broken any law. So every time you're asking me a question, I am going to answer. And there are questions they would ask, and I would say, but how is this question related to why I'm here? Do you have children? I said, what have my children got to do with this? And like Bonnie said, so we are being questioned by so many people. That room had, I think the room at the immigration office had around 7 people. All of them, every time I say something, they jeer with so much anger. It was as if we had done something very personal to them. So up to the point where we go to the police station. And this is something I've wanted to emphasize. So I come from a country that is also very dictatorial, full of impunity, but I never thought that one day I've found a country that is worse, a government that is worse. So my shock was that we are in the hands of public officials. They picked us from the hotel. They told our colleagues, because the Elder General Ulimwengu asked the guy, I remember the first name being George, what's the issue? Why are you taking them? And they said, just for them to help us with some investigations, answer some questions. So the feeling was that let's not be accused of blocking any form of investigations. We have gone to answer the questions they have, however ridiculous, however disagreeable they are. But so these people know that the world, many people already know we are in their hands. We are taken to a police station. We're in the hands of a police officer. I am sure, like in any other East African country, even in Tanzania, the mandate of police officers, the core one is to protect citizens and their property. So we are in the hands of people that are supposed to protect citizens. But this person, that guy that was, we later to learned his name to be Faustin Mafere, called thugs to pick us from a police station, from his custody, without a care of, I am untouchable. Not just here in Tanzania, but everywhere. So in Uganda, they kidnap people. They torture people also. It's not a secret. But at least they kidnap you from a street so that no one knows who exactly is responsible for this. And many times they would deny, no, we don't know where he is or where she is. Here, the public officials were not afraid at all of being the ones to call thugs, to send us to thugs to do what they did to us. And for me, that's a level of impunity that I cannot fathom, that we are at that stage where people, of course, when I was still shocked, I saw members of parliament also saying Martha Karua should have been raped or sent back home on oxygen, and they were openly in parliament. If that doesn't scare East Africans, that we are at that barbaric level, and for them sexual violence is a go-to thing, like it's the first thing they think of. So anyway, so when we were taken, what they did to Boniface is exactly what they did to me. They get me out of the car. After they took Boniface, they had increased the volume of the gospel music they were playing. At first, I didn't know why, but I had Boniface screaming, and I knew they were trying to block that, me from hearing that. So they violently pick me out of that vehicle, and they also order me to strip naked. Now, I was afraid. Many people think I don't get afraid. I mean, I know people who say it seems fear is not in Agatha's DNA, but I was afraid. I first got afraid when they blindfolded us. I think I had a moment of like almost a panic attack, because always my fear was being tortured. I always thought, I wish the day they get me, I have like poison and I swallow it so that I don't go through so much pain, so much humiliation. So I was afraid when they picked us up, and then I told myself, there's nothing you can do. There's no way out. There's no one saving you. You are blindfolded. You are like that sort of suffocation where there's no way out. So I found myself having this calm of accepting, whatever happens will happen. you have to prepare yourself for it. Now, when they say take off your clothes, I realized that I hadn't prepared myself for that. So, of course, I hesitated. I'm so afraid. It had already been clear these are not people who have come to talk to you for a conversation where you can even beg or whatever. No, they had come with one instruction: inflict as much pain as you can. So before I say anything, there's one. I remember the first blow was on my back because I didn't undress immediately. And after that blow, they started taking off the clothes themselves, as forcefully, as violently as you imagine, because they're taking off and you're even about to fall down, because I had a jumper that is very tight in the neck, so by the time they get it out and everything, they take everything off. So there are layers of vulnerability. That is like the topmost. You're already in the hands of criminals, clearly. You're already blindfolded. Now you've been stripped naked. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's in front of you in your, complete nakedness and all. So yeah, they tie me up. They first handcuff me, but before handcuffing me, they put my jumper that I was wearing to put the handcuffs on top. But still, it still left marks anyway. Yeah, so they tie my arms to my legs, and they also, put like something wood, like a stick in between, and then they carry me upside down like that. And the rest is everything they did to Boniface. They are inserting something in your anus so bad, like so deep, you want to beg them to actually rape you in the right place, because you are thinking it can't be as painful as this. Of course, that's in the moment of that pain. But after that, you thank God that now you're not dealing with HIV, other diseases being, So they didn't use their sexual organs. That was, and I had to say, a relief with all that happened, but it could have been worse. I didn't see a way out of that. I didn't think we'd get out of that alive. It brings me to what I have, wanted to tell the citizens of East Africa. We are alive because of you. And it's important that we've now understood that as East African citizens, we are on our own. We are on our own, and we were saved by you, ordinary people. No guns, no office, no money, no nothing. The noise everyone made. They had thought it would be like those Tanzanians that they kidnap and torture and kill, and it goes quietly. No one knows them. So I think when he's talking about his government letting him down, at least they pretended and put out a statement. Mine didn't. Because for our governments, it was good riddance. Someone else is getting rid of our headaches. Why would they care about that? But the people of East Africa who have now understood that we only have each other. We have no government. We have no police that, as constitutionally mandated, that protects their citizens. And you guys showed up so big that our tormentors, when they took me from Dar to another place, if you check the distance from Dar es Salaam to Mutukula, the border with Uganda, is about 1,480 kilometers. So I was driven that distance. This is someone who had flown into Dar with my own ticket. I had a return ticket, I showed it to them. So I think the distance being long and whatever, there's one of the tormentors who became friendly. And the day, I think this was Wednesday morning, after I'd spent half the night in a different detention center, which looked exactly like where they tortured us from. When you saw the facilities, like the toilet where they would then take off the blindfold, the toilet was the same, the bucket that is in there, so it was also another government detention center. And I started refusing to eat. By this time, they were giving us painkillers to heal our injuries. Like when I said, we couldn't walk. For 3 days, I couldn't step down. The feet were so swollen. Has your skin ever become so tight that you think if you stepped on something, it would prick it or it would burst? That's how under my feet were. And we couldn't walk. So they kept giving me painkillers. They almost overdosed me on them because I later saw the paper that had the painkillers. It was saying 1 times 2. And I think they gave it to me. There's a time they gave it to me 4 times a day. So now I realize they are interested in us going out in a better shape. So I refuse to eat so that now it's urgent for them to let me go. So this guy comes to plead with me to eat and says, these people didn't know they had arrested you're very popular. Everyone is looking for you, and shows me some of the protests that were happening. I think he opened either Facebook and I saw Hussein and Hanifa at the Tanzanian embassy with our photos and placards. And that's what overwhelmed them. I think, because when we're going through, and the things are so many to tell you, there's just no time. So when we are being driven from that detention center in Dar, so at first I think they're taking us back to the police station because that's what they had told our lawyers. Then the drive becomes so long. Then I think maybe they're taking us to the airport. Then it still becomes so long. People who were picked at around 9 a.m., nightfall came and were still driving. And the car is being driven so fast. I cannot describe to you the psychological torture. You're blindfolded. You're still with these killers. So I think the psychological torture of those days of driving for me was worse than the physical torture I endured earlier. Because I kept thinking they are going to throw us in the park to be eaten by animals. Or sometimes I would hear as if the ocean is roaring near us, and I would think they would throw me in the ocean. And you are thinking that, you would be one of those people whose families never know whether you are dead or alive, whether you would return or not. And I went through that for the whole day and night. So we're saved by ordinary people. And it's from ordinary us East Africans that justice will come. I think when everyone would ask, can we help you with something? Do you need something? Especially those that are powerful. The diplomatic community, I found so many messages on my phone from some of them in Uganda. And I would say, the only thing I want is justice. It's what kept me going in that situation. I was feeling so much pain, and that whole night I asked, but what did we do to deserve this? What's the point to this pain? And I came to a consolation that maybe the point to this pain is that other Tanzanians, the Tanzanians have told you that are picked up and tortured and killed and no one knows them. It's that they get justice. It's that no one else, not a Tanzanian, not an East African, has to go through that. Is that impunity is somehow checked, somehow. And I thought, Boniface and I both have a name and a profile and platforms that, how many people can call journalists and you fill up a room like this? How many ordinary Tanzanians can do that? So in that moment, I thought that maybe it had to take our pain for the world to know what an ordinary Tanzanian is going through. And for me, that gave me some hope in that moment. That even if I died, it would probably not be in vain, because the facade of Tanzania is peaceful. of it has a female president who is phenomenal, finally goes off.